Awesome. I think a lot of the community will start to warm up to some Twitter spaces during the next few weeks and so forth as more and more of these things happen.
Yeah, we are breaking the ice.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure. I
Definitely.
mean, this kind of fireside chat and I don't know, with the community, I think it's very good to like sync with the community from time to time.
Yeah. No, for sure, for sure. And I think this is also a really, really great moment to dive into some things that are happening on a lot of front, especially on the technical front. And this milestone, of course, coming from the community, is a great step forward, along with the Elrond Dev Guild efforts that are coming and so forth. So really great to see all these things picking up.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah. So, what do you say? Should we start?
Yeah. I think we can start. It's probably simpler like that, and then since I guess the conversation is being recorded,
Yeah.
some of the
Mm-hmm.
people or community members can always follow up.
Sure. Yeah. So let's start with the announcement of launching the Dev Hub. I think that's the main reason we are here. It started as an initiative inside the Elrond Dev Guild. Just a few words about the Dev Guild. It's an open initiative that started together with Julian like 2 months ago, I think, and it basically was very spontaneous. We started together developers and resources in one place, and the initiative took on pretty well. Quite a few people started to contribute and bring their work there, and others came, joined, and contributed to people's work. So yeah, it went well, pretty nice, and like I think 3 weeks, something like that. 3 weeks ago, we started to work on the Dev Hub, and I want to first of all thank to my colleagues at Elrond Giants for helping build this platform and for contributing to the Dev Guild. The entire code for the Dev Hub is open source on the guild's repository. You can go check it out, contribute to it, and yeah, I think that's that's about the Dev Hub. Yeah, go on.
Awesome. I'd say a few things. So first of all, of course, really love the effort that was put into the Elrond Dev Guild. The fact that it started without us initially having a conversation. I know with Julian, there have been some conversations on Twitter and so forth. Both Lucian and myself had some other conversations. We've seen some materials come being created and so forth, and always appreciated the initiative and the effort. We've shared this always both internally and on all the Telegram channels and so forth. So it's great to see this type of effort. And then when this was put together between you guys and you've created the Elrond Dev Guild, at that point it was a different type of milestone, because it essentially created a map of all the materials that exists for the Elrond community, for the dev community, that are either created by the Elrond team or from around different participants in the community. So this alone was a really great step forward. So great effort on that. Congrats on that, and keep up the really great work on this front. And then, as you said, I believe the Elrond Dev Hub is essentially an extension, sort of a cooler visual version that takes the materials that somehow exist, creates some other materials, puts them together in a very simple way for people to get access to them, to play around with them, and interestingly, to also submit other materials and make them known to the community. So for the stage we're at right now, this is although it everything that's being built at some point might always seem like a very simple tool. It's awesome to have it live, to put it together, and if more people put in some small effort into something like this, this can become with the Elrond Dev Guild material and map something like a reference within the ecosystem that accelerates the entire iteration process, the entire experimentation process. So again, a really great work both for yourself and for your colleagues and so forth. And I guess this is basically an invitation for the really resourceful people in the community to just come in, bring some feedback, communicate, contribute some materials, or just put in some stuff that they have found very useful. But yeah, this were a few points that I think we've covered as we've had some discussions ourselves. But very happy to see this moving forward. So if I'm not sure the community will have feedback and so forth, I'm quite curious to see how it evolves.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as you said, like this first iteration of the hub is basically like putting a front end to the guild that was already made, and yeah, it's like an invitation for people to jump in, contribute, and share everything that they found interesting. Right now on the hub, you can basically find any resources that we managed to gather up about, I don't know, things like articles, guide tutorials, even like YouTube videos, podcasts. And yeah, this is just the first iteration. We have some more things in the pipeline, like accounts and I don't know, bounties and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll we'll see about that.
Yeah, maybe I guess a good part of the conversation, beyond the fact that I see some really cool people joining from the community. Some of them are always so part of the team, part of the Elrond team, outside of the team, and from the Elrond community, and also some cool people that are part of the community that we've had some discussions with at some point, but that we've not discussed with directly in the Twitter Spaces and so forth. But there's one person that is really good at chess and records, has a lot of discussions related to chess. So really cool to have him part of the conversation. Basically, it's
Yep.
Agad Mater. So welcome. I know we've only touched a few times and had some conversation, but great to see many people joining. Um, I'd say that maybe a second point that's quite cool to unfold a bit on is just the agenda of the conversation, or just giving the community a bit of an overview. So maybe a first point is just touching base on the launch, what it means, and so forth. This we've already done. A second point is perhaps discussing a bit about next steps, initiatives,
Yep.
ideas, some interesting questions for the community, and then perhaps also opening this up for some questions, for
Sure.
some ideas and feedback from the community. But yeah, very curious to hear a bit. I know we've had some discussions, but maybe you want to share a bit how the first iteration looks. I think this is clear. What are some of the other interesting things that are in the pipeline, and why do you think they make sense and would add a lot of value?
Sure. So we talked about adding accounts and create some kind of dev profile there. This would be like really nice because first of all we created visibility on the resources out there. With that, we can create visibility on the actual people that are developing there. So we'll kind of close the loop. And will be way easier for people to connect and find good developers, and that would work very well with some kind of job board or something like that, to allow people to connect and find good developers and work with them. And we had some talks about some kind of a bounty program where people can go and create a bounty for something they want done, and people can go and do that and claim the bounty. So that would be also awesome because people will be able to get small things, or I don't know, even bigger things done, and there will be some kind of a competition around that.
Definitely. Maybe I'll just add 2-3 points here, and afterwards perhaps I'll invite Lucian to also say a word, and maybe also Robert to drop a note. The key idea here is we've been, of course, having a lot of discussions and a lot of ideas and a lot of efforts put into the developer experience. And of course, this goes back to designing the VM in some form, then building frameworks, then building the tools. And it's very, very fascinating to see how many of these things need to be first built in order for them to some dApps that are exciting, interesting, compelling to emerge, and to be able to be built from the community. There's always something more that can be done on the experience and so forth. But in addition to what we are always doing and pushing with the Elrond team and with some very, very resourceful and talented people, the idea is that whenever we see these types of initiatives within the community, they show to the broader community how simple, easy, and useful some things can become, and then draw other ideas out from the community, and then just give a bit of courage to some of the other members to play around, come up with some ideas, test them out, iterate, and so forth. And with respect to this part of maybe having the first map of some of the tools and making it visual, I think this is very, very underrated, because people are either devs and they find some of the information, but if they're not devs and then are maybe not familiar with the ecosystem, it's very surprising how hard sometimes it is to find the right resources. So having this type of map is clearly valuable. But then, of course, as you said, some of the next steps are definitely things that, for instance, with Lucian, we've been discussing for more than 1 year. And I think even with Robert, we've been discussing this, especially the bounty bounty module, where anyone from the community can say, hey guys, I really want this module built, whether it's a smart contract, whether it's part of an application, whether it's something else. This is what I want. This is how much I would pay for it. And then some developers or some people from different parts of the world can start working on that, can move forward with that. And that's really great that something like this can happen. I also believe that with this, we're going to also see the template or templates for dApps that exist in the ecosystem and could be very, very useful. Perhaps a category on the left side of the Elrond Dev Hub might be precisely a template field there to see how to fill that. These are just a few ideas. If you want to maybe add some more on that, if not, maybe Lucian and Robert would add just 1 or 2 points.
Sure, you can add them. I think you should be able to. I think I totally agree with you, and also I think this would be very important even for people that know development, know how to write code. Because, for example, I got quite a few messages and I've seen on Twitter people that have experience as developers, but don't actually have the time to dive in and find every piece of information they need to put the base there. So I think this would work very well for both categories, both people that want to start learning now, and for experienced developers that want to jump in and start developing on Elrond. Yep.
And then maybe the point, beyond this part is that this will maybe cover in some of the, let's say, discussions and questions and so forth. But I'll just add this, that a course or several courses that would contribute to this part, that would accompany not only the technical material and documentation, but also would bring up some videos with some explanations and so forth, and make some really obvious steps for guides for the developers to start playing with the technology. That would help a lot, and that's an obvious step forward. We're going to actually have probably 2-3 courses very soon, with at least 1 or 2 bounties specifically put out for this part. So if people know someone really good at creating courses, at creating technical materials and so forth, that will be a really great conversation to have, and people will be able to share their experience and create something really cool.
This was indeed a thing that was quite requested by people. So I think it would make a lot of sense and would be very useful to have that. Should we add the Lucian and?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure how this actually works. I invited Lucian to speak, but don't know if he clicked the accept button.
Yeah, I've invited
Lucian
him now.
That doesn't really work. Let me invite Robert as well.
Okay.
Let's see if it works for him. This is it's funny to do this in spaces.
I mean, I figured out myself today, so.
Awesome. Let me see. Maybe I can make. Do you see the option of making?
If you can hear me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I just have to give some
accept
and add some rules, like microphone should be used by Twitter or not.
Awesome.
I am very happy to see any initiative from the community, and we are really growing. There are a lot of new stuff coming to the Elrond network day by day, and we see a lot of development. Having a guild is super fun, and I think that a lot of people need that first push, as sometimes blockchain might be scary and there might be not enough tools for it. But after, as far as I see, after somebody can go over those big first steps and have some easy results after that, then building should be simple.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
I think like if you get that initial satisfaction of actually managing to build something, I think that's a very important piece, and people will build on that after.
Indeed. Maybe the first rush with the first milestone and the first, let's say, success is the one thing that then keeps the momentum going, and then let's technical people play a bit more, and so forth. And it's especially interesting how this plays out within the blockchain space, because actually people, instead of, let's say, looking at blockchain just as some a bit of a different dialect to the same language, technical language that you somehow have already learned, people look at it much more strangely, like this would be something very, very different than almost anything technical that they've learned, and so forth. So if they start with the other assumption that it's just like a different language, maybe a bit of a different dialect, and they would just dive in and start playing a bit with the technology, then it will probably lead to some interesting results.
Yeah, for sure.
Lucian just says thanks, and that he loves the energy and effort. He's probably not able to join via microphone and so forth, but I guess if you want, we can continue to the maybe either questions and answers phase, or to the, let's say, opening the conversation with the community phase.
Sure, let's maybe answer and cover some topics that were asked on Twitter and on DMs, and after that, sure, we can open, and everyone can jump in and ask questions. One topic that was kind of asked is what options a developer has to I don't know, access some kind of grant or funding if he wants to build something. What kind of funding options do they have?
Sure. This is a great question. The idea should be pretty simple, and I think obvious, in the sense that whenever something really cool is being built, a lot of people will be interested. Now there are two ways of approaching this part of initial step. Whether you prepare, or someone prepares something like a technical material, a kind of mock-up, or the first MVP, and then tries to start a conversation. This would be an interesting conversation to have. We'll probably we are basically very accessible, in the sense that people constantly send us messages via Telegram, via Twitter, email, and so forth. That's always appreciated, and we're curious to take a look at that. What we are looking for specifically is either something that is obviously contributing value to the ecosystem, to users, to businesses, and if there's some clear idea there, the closer the idea is to something that's not only on paper, like written in 5 minutes, but rather a bit more focus, a bit more idea put into it, and a bit more effort, the closer it will be to something that could potentially not only get a grant, but then secure an investment. Just to make things even more obvious, the the key thing is that there are several funds within the ecosystem. There's both the Elrond Foundation funds, but then also the Morningstar funds, the eGold, Skynet fund, and so forth. All of these people are looking for really talented or really ambitious or really determined people from the community that would want to build useful things. We're always happy to hear about them. This is the, let's say, the simple path to make the conversation as useful as possible. There are several other paths here, whether the conversation starts with us, whether the conversation starts with the fund, whether the conversation is focused on maybe securing a place within the Launchpad ecosystem. There are many conversations, and I think the great part is that at the end of the day, this is nice, it's great, but for whatever reason, if a project believes that it can build something new from scratch or much better than something that exists, that's also great. And it means that since the technology is open source, people can go so many routes that it will be very interesting to see how things evolve during the next period.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Great answer. I think it covered everything. So the next thing, and we talked in the past weeks a little about this, is what plans do you have for helping basically onboarding more developers?
Yeah, this is maybe just to close the other question. I'm thinking here. Imagine whenever you send a message or you send a document. Suppose that you send a message at contact@elrond.com, or you write me a message on Telegram or someone else from the team. Imagine that almost everyone sees 50, 100 messages with applications a week. The question is, what's the significant part that you think will touch the users, the business, and so forth, that contributes value? Try to put something exceptional there, either in showing the product or showing the progress or showing some special passion. If this comes across, then there's always a interesting follow-up conversation. If this doesn't come across from the first time, don't wait for someone to see stuff. Keep building, because builders will always find their way, and this is awesome. So coming to your question, the question is, how do we just help the community accelerate the process and onboard much more developers? Yeah, well, we're doing this through several means. First, the obvious way, just trying to make the tools more usable, faster, more reliable, and so forth. Getting the documentation out, making sure that this is all in sync. And I cannot express enough the effort that is always being put by the Elrond team. So that's a really important part. But then beyond that, I think we've come at a point where we are very close to a critical mass for the developer ecosystem, where a good or useful way to seeing this is, you want to build something, and when you want to build it, you need a few Lego pieces. Because if you have too few Lego pieces, then there's nothing too interesting there to play with. If you have too many, then you might want to build something that takes actually years until it's finalized and so forth. So our way of looking at this is, what's the minimum set of Lego pieces that really needs to be out, and then that really needs to be shared with materials and so forth, so that people, whenever they want to build something, they can discover the tools, start with them immediately, and then that's part of the conversation, having each of the Lego pieces that are really needed, creating the materials for them, whether it's video, whether it's courses, whether it's written documents around them. And here, I guess, specifically, we're going to put out, as I said, 2-3 bounties for courses on how to get started, how to build the different dApps and so forth. So getting things from zero to something more, perhaps more advanced. So if someone is looking into that, just pay a closer attention. We'll probably do something in collaboration with the Elrond Dev Hub, just to have a course here as well, because it fits really well into the picture and the conversation. But then in addition to this, we also will start several hackathons, right? We have the tools. We want to check that the documentation is there, get feedback from the community. Because in the past, we've done some research, done some conversations with the community, and want to get another round of feedback on the different tools, on maybe what's missing or what we can prepare. And during the next weeks, we want to start the first rounds of hackathons, where people really try to solve some problems and so forth. We have some really big plans regarding the, let's say, a much bigger hackathon, a much bigger push on this front. And at the end of the day, it should be first having the tools ready, having the documentation ready, having visual and written materials to guide things out, and then just pushing with hackathons, pushing with funding, and leading with some really fascinating problems to solve within the community, setting up some tracks, and then allowing the really hardcore builders to stand out, to push forward, and this will be the way to go.
Yep. And going back to those Lego pieces you mentioned, I think also the Dev Hub is helping with that, because there are already some Lego pieces built by the community out there, and now with the hub, they are all in one place, and people can reuse them and focus more on building new stuff, and basically using some already built ones. So you kind of guessed the next question with the hackathons. So there's no point on asking it again, but some other people ask something like, they ask about hackathons and meetups. So
I guess we let's say we always have a tendency of wanting to push for something really big and really exciting, and then pushing for that and focusing on that. And sometimes it's good to push for that. It's great to push for that. We have some really big plans, but then it's also great to start these lighter conversations, as we're doing right now, to start the efforts, to sit down, to have some conversation around the tools, to have some meetups, to do some workshops, to do some hackathons within the different parts of the communities, because we have now very large communities, both in Romania, in France, in Germany, in some other parts of the world. And until we do the, let's say, biggest thing yet, maybe we want to do some really interesting immediate things, like setting up the first meetups in several places really fast in the next 2-3 weeks. And then for these meetups, just having someone from the team sent, because the guys in the team are always extremely helpful and also eager to participate and add value and feedback and so forth. So I definitely said that with this part of the conversation with the Elrond Dev Guild and the Elrond Dev Hub, we should have at least a monthly, if not every 2 weeks, a Twitter Spaces or a conversation like this, where devs can join, they can share some feedback, they can share some of the things that they find really cool or interesting, but then also some of the things that maybe are missing, are not clear, or they would see how those could be improved. once this is started, you always are surprised how fast things move on the right track. This is precisely why I'm excited to see this happening already with what you've built and how things will evolve next. So we'll probably keep this type of conversation going and start a few of the meetups to kickstart even more conversations within the technical circles.
Yep, sure. And I think even like with some Elrond developers and people, I don't know, asking some more in-depth questions, yeah, that would be awesome for sure. So I'll try to bundle the next questions together because they are somehow related. And it's basically, do you have any plans to communicate outside of the Telegram group and maybe like find a better alternative to that, and also have some ways to announce important updates, important changes, critical stuff for so people can
Sure. No, I think this was part of our initial conversation and some conversations that we've had the last few months, both inside the team and outside, whether Telegram is the best medium to share some of the things, and it's clearly not the best medium, but it definitely is at least a helpful and useful tool for the time being. What we believe, and here I'm very curious to hear thoughts from the devs to see what's, let's say, a much better tool or medium where you'd feel at home. I know one alternative is, of course, Discord, and potentially there's some other versions of conversation. This is, let's say, there should always be a way to reach people that are online right now, to ask some questions, to go about doing this. But then there should also be a reinforcement on the Stack Exchange page, just because some questions you'll have over and over again. And once you reach a critical mass of questions that are relevant and answers being given and refreshed, at that point, it's almost like the Stack Exchange page for Elrond will sell itself. You'll just find things just as you find them on Google and so forth. We just need to put a bit more effort in and make sure that those are useful. But here I'm curious, even from you, if you have a strong, let's say, experience or opinion for a different communication medium outside of Telegram that you believe is super useful for devs.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are two categories here: the day-to-day asking questions thing, and the reaching like as many people as you can with important or critical updates or basically very important stuff. And I think for day-to-day communication, I think Discord can be great. Most of the projects use Discord, and you can have multiple channels, and I think it's great for that. But I think there should also be some kind of more options to reach people, especially because there are a lot of projects that are made by developers that are paid or hired. So like people that have different apps but are not devs, they kind of need to know about important updates or important stuff so they can prepare. So I think also some kind of I don't know, maybe mail notifications, or I don't know, all kind of stuff to reach as many people as you can with critical updates.
Sure. So on this front, what we are in the process of implementing is basically, again, some version of on the website sharing a status with a page specifically only for pushed releases on the different tools, on the different branches that we already have. when they're deployed with a kind of minimal viable documentation to get a sense of what's happening. This we're doing internally. We're going to do on Telegram on a special separate channel via email, possibly as well, but then on a website as well, so that you have at least the three versions, internal, external, and the website, where you can immediately say, this is what's happening. And then if you want to subscribe to that page on the website via email, you can also get the email notification that this is coming up. Now, we're also going to do this in advance, because there are some tools that we've just discussed last week internally, that there's, for instance, the DApp core component that allows any developer to really interact with the Elrond blockchain in a smart way, efficient way. But this has come now to a point where a new version, so the DApp core 2.0, is being developed. And if there's something really big with huge implications, you want to at least give the people some advance notice that, let's say, in
exactly.
1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, you have this new update. This is what they need to know. This is what they need to do in order to have everything ready. And I would expect that after the next 2-3 months, so maybe after the next month, we'll probably have a recurring release, similar to how we have on the protocol side, on some of the tooling side as well, just because it has become really important, really critical, with a lot of implications. And if you have a kind of recurring release with a special date, at that point, you have both the notifications and the key ideas that are coming to life. And you know that this is the time when you can look at everything that's coming out.
Yep, sure, that would really help. So I think those were the questions. We aimed for something like 1 hour, so I think we can take people from the community to ask questions.
Sure.
You should, if you want to speak, you should place a request, and we can add you. The aim of this conversation is kind of to keep it in the area of Elrond development and not go very far from this.
So please guys, just submit a request, and ideally, if you want to share some ideas or thoughts or questions, that will be great. But you can press the request button, and then you can basically do that. I see that there are already at least a few requests.
You can add them.
Yeah. Let me add the first one. So Frodo, I think, has been accepted. I'm not sure if he hears us. Hello there.
For
Hi.
The chance to ask a question. So my question was, do you find it useful for a crowdfund for Elrond, in the idea that the devs could work on a project, or the community could ask for something that they would like?
So the question is if we are thinking about a platform like that, or if a platform like that would be needed within the Elrond ecosystem. Can you still hear us? I'm not sure if my connection disconnected or.
No. You're okay.
Okay. Let's maybe. I guess the question was something around the having a sort of crowdfunding platform.
Exactly.
Yeah, there are several funding, let's say, platforms in some sense, but there can always be more. So if there's a key idea or something that you believe has not been done and is really useful for some particular part of the community, it would be great to hear more or something a bit more specific. Let's maybe take the next person, Lucas. I think you're on.
Hi, thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah.
Thank you. My question is for you, Beniamin. What are some interesting applications that you see being built on Elrond that aren't yet? Are there some like DeFi applications or some interesting stuff that you'd like to see being built?
Yeah, definitely. I think the question here is more like what are the applications that would add the most amount of adoption in the shortest amount of time, perhaps. And the question will always range between, let's say, applications that are really exciting and really interesting, and applications that are very focused on adding a lot of utility immediately. We've basically said that, let's say, the two directions would be something like payments with immediate applications within everything related to payments, whether it's stable coins that are fully backed and that leverage a network like Elrond with speed and low transaction costs and all of that, and that are integrated with, let's say, a local fiat currency, with payment processors, with the Maya application, and that essentially accelerate the entire economic growth process. So an entire country with users, merchants, companies, and so forth would be able to leverage an economy or an infrastructure system for the financial system that would work faster. And then on the other hand, of course, DeFi is just a derivation of this idea with some particular modules there. We're seeing this play out. And of course, the much bigger conversation related to how the blockchain part will play out will be in the metaverse space, where I believe a lot of the things are not, let's say, a nice to have, as it is within the world we're playing in right now, but rather they start with a position where the metaverse essentially cannot exist without the blockchain. If this is the case, then you'll need the basic fundamental structure for almost everything you want to build, and this will be the most important layer, I believe, within the metaverse to explore. This is why we're probably going to have some very productive conversations related to this. I'm sure there's a catalog of, let's say, immediate applications that people are looking at, but at least these are two that go into extremes, both immediately with high impact and pretty non-controversial, and something with very high impact for a much longer time span, but that could essentially change a lot of the social structure we have right now. Lucian is just writing to me one point, which is that related to the applications and related to what we've been discussing, Razvan, the idea with just a version of Gitcoin applied to Elrond Dev Hub is essentially this bounty platform element where you can immediately streamline some of the ideas and essentially also accelerate the entire iteration process.
Very interesting. Thanks a lot. Also, maybe I can share an idea of mine.
Sure.
That would be, I was thinking about a liquid staking protocol on Elrond, something like Lido is doing.
Mm-hmm. This is already in the process of being built.
Oh, amazing.
So we'll very soon have something like that. It's already being built and tested. We just did not want to release this until it's really used in some of the other modules where it will be plugged in. But yeah, derivatives like that will definitely be quite useful. Let's
Very
see, maybe.
interesting. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to take part in it.
Sure. Thank you. Should we maybe take a few of the guys that are in the queue right now? Let me put chess education. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, can you hear me? Hey,
Yes.
hey, Beniamin. Hey, Razvan. I have a question that I hope I didn't miss anything, and it's sort of a doubling, and you've already answered it. But I think there's like it could be a two-pronged approach. Like there's people who are already developers, and we can sort of try and onboard them onto Elrond. But there's also people who are willing to learn how to code, and are there any plans to sort of empower them to learn how to code and maybe directly on the Elrond blockchain, and basically teach young people or people who are trying to get into the Web3 economy, how, are there plans to get them onboarded and empower them to code directly on the blockchain?
Mm-hmm. No, this is an awesome question. I'd specifically say a few things. So most of the people, or most of the focus that we're looking at right now is precisely we're saying that our goal is to onboard the next billion people, because most people will not essentially want to code, but will definitely want some tools. So if they can interact, for instance, with NFTs, with DAOs, with DeFi applications and so forth, through either the Maya application or some other applications that are being built, that will be awesome. But then if people want to dive even deeper, I think there are two ways of approaching this, and we're definitely thinking about expanding into this space as well. So beyond everything that we've discussed, that we're doing and immediately trying to do, there are some kind of, let's say, coding boot camps that take an even more fundamental approach, where they try to onboard people from other, let's say, professions into the technical profession, try to give them the first challenges, help them play with the tools. So there's definitely this type of approach. There's the approach with the courses that will play around this, and there's also, I think, a more low code or no code approach that, if done right, will open up a lot of the conversations where you basically can do something similar to what the code does, but with templates. And it's perhaps most of the people, as I say, will probably not want to learn to code and to do this part. But then from those that want to learn from scratch, there's probably a much larger number that would go with a templated approach that they can use and sort of build things like they would build, let's say, an Optimus Prime with Legos. And I do believe that this is a productive approach, and one that we'll definitely explore in some form or another as soon as we have the first, let's say, courses out, and we start some discussions with some coding dev schools.
Amazing, thank you. And if you ever want to play chess, you know where to find.
Awesome. Thank you for the conversation. Let's maybe take a few more. I'll just add.
Yeah, just add them. Yeah.
Elrond Fantes, I think you're on. Can you hear us? maybe not. Should we try with
let's
the next person?
Yep.
Okay. BNI store 4.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hello. I want to make a question, or maybe talk about the education part. As you told, the coding part is hard for a lot of people. So, in these days, or last months, I was thinking about a platform where people basically can learn how to build applications just by using blocks. I was thinking about a platform similar to Scratch. It's a platform about kids, because basically I'm a teacher and I teach coding to kids, and I use Scratch or Make Code. That it's a Microsoft application that allow basically to build a high level applications using just blocks like Lego blocks. You can stack them, you can build the logic, and this maybe could be an approach for to allow people that don't understand coding, so they build some cool applications. So I don't know, maybe Elrond is thinking about this kind of app or website, or I don't know. So my question is, will be something like that in the future, built from by Elrond or by someone else?
Yeah, this is a great follow-up question to exactly what we were discussing before. If you're building something like this, we'd definitely love to hear from you. I do believe that a lot of the conversations, whether in the blockchain space and outside, for not the most technical people, will be played around this type of, let's say, Lego blocks games that actually give you the same superpower that you'd have with coding, just not very specified. And we're definitely exploring several directions. I know Scratch, know how useful it is for, especially for children, to start playing with the technology. But if you're building something like this, or someone in the community is building something like this, we'd definitely love to hear from you. And we're exploring this type of direction as soon as we clear, let's say, some of the most important milestones or objectives that we have for the next period. So definitely happy to hear from you if you're building something around this.
Sadly, I'm not building it yet, because I'm not so expert in Web3. But I love the idea, having a tool like that. So there is some developer here that want to join this journey and building this tool. Just contact me and let's talk about it.
Definitely.
Also, thank you for the answer.
Awesome. Let's maybe hear a bit Eddie. Can you hear us? Yes.
Hi.
We can hear.
Right. Great to be here with you guys. I would just want to start by saying congrats, Razvan, for this initiative, and it's really welcome in the community, because a lot has been done for the general community, and the devs are normally used to just going out there and finding the resources and digging through docs and, asking around. This is the dev life, right? But having a common place where you can find all this information, it's really golden. And I think it's a huge milestone for the Elrond ecosystem. And yeah, congrats.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's a process, and I think more stuff like this will emerge from the community. And yeah, for sure, the docs will get better, as Beniamin said, and more resources will be built. Yeah, it's just a process.
Right. I'm trying to build something with a team of developers that were not previously involved in blockchain. So I think the next crucial developer crowd, I'm thinking, will come from already established developers that are not currently involved into blockchain. And this is what the Dev Hub will help with, I think, in my opinion, right? Because if you want to build a project and all the blockchain devs are probably busy with stuff, but suddenly you have a team of developers that are not familiar with blockchain, you have something to give them to jumpstart, to bootstrap the development and the blockchain space. This makes a huge difference, and we want to contribute to this as much as we can. And just wanted to say this is a huge milestone, and congratulations, you guys, really.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, sure. I think the onboarding step is the hardest, and once you get used to how things work and what tools you have available and things like that, it's way easier to start learning by yourself.
Right.
So yeah, that's
awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Really agree with Eddie's points. A lot of the people, I think, really cool technical people, have not yet played with the technologies because maybe some of the conversation is going on still in our telegrams and our specific channels, but this type of just surfacing the materials, putting them with some clear categories and so forth, and sharing them even outside of the normal circle definitely makes the conversation, at least the initial starter, a bit simpler. We'll see how fast this picks up, but I'm definitely quite excited. Awesome. Let's see. Maybe I think we have a few more people here. Let's say Zach. Can you hear us, Zach? I see Zach Reben, but maybe he doesn't hear us. We'll add another person. Jon, can you hear us? Zach and Jon, you guys have the mic. If it doesn't work, we'll try with Cosmin.
Yeah, it says connecting on me, so
okay. Maybe Cosmin. Cosmin.
Hello guys, Beniamin Razvan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi.
Congratulations on everything, Razvan, and the Dev Hub. It's amazing. I think it will do good for the dev community. I have a question regarding somehow the Maya app, because from what I see and what I hear a lot of people talking, it's getting a lot of adoption, getting a lot of people. Would help if we could add or withdraw money from IR as easy as you do on Revolut. Is that something that it's foreseeable in the future?
Yes, definitely. It's not part of the dev conversation, but it's definitely something we're working on and pushing towards. There are basically we've said this from the beginning. There are two ways of doing this: adding the fiat on ramp and off ramp, adding some type of bank account that is attached to your account, or adding cards. These are three ways of essentially doing the same thing, but we're definitely pushing for this. And as soon as the situation is clarified, I'll be the first to share some updates. But let's say that by the end of this year, because I'm putting a much larger time frame, but by the end of this year, ideally we should have this problem solved somehow. So hopefully much faster.
Of course. Thank you.
Definitely. Let's maybe give the mic to Johnny. Johnny Crypto, can you hear us? Maybe you're still muted. If it doesn't work,
Who?
Can you hear us?
Who?
Hi.
Hey.
Johnny?
Hey guys, I just want to actually offer my congratulations because I've been following the Elrond community for quite a while now. So originally I am Romanian, and of course I can speak it. So I just want to say bună ziua la toată lumea. Mă bucur pentru ce faceți voi. So just want to throw that out there, and it's actually quite nice to see. And some of the people here on this chat I've actually engaged with, so they know me. But I just wanted to say that I really have enjoyed the progress that I've been seeing, and I think the dev piece is really important as well, because I've been looking to do something, and I've engaged with a developer who's currently on this chat, and it's good that I think we're looking to bring in more devs into this space, because I think that the Elrond blockchain has a lot to offer, and it's great to have competition amongst the chains. But I also think that the user experience on the Elrond network with the Meyer app, and I think the soon to be on and off ramps for the Meyer app is really important to actually bring in the next wave of adoption, which I think is really important for the whole industry at large.
Awesome stuff, Johnny. Great to hear your thoughts, and thanks for the support. Both elements are extremely important, I think, on the dev part. During the next weeks, a lot more things will pop up, and we love them to pop up from the community and from the Elrond team as well. But for the Meyer as well, Meyer app, there are some more really cool things coming up, and I do believe that they will significantly ease the experience and also make it a lot more exciting.
Yeah.
For people to explore the space and be able to navigate it.
Very good. Oh, FYI, I have tried multiple times to connect with you on LinkedIn. I think we might be, and I've sent some DMs, but I suspect that as busy as you are traveling and seeing stuff, you're probably just not able to get to everybody's. But just FYI.
Definitely.
Right.
I'd say that out of all the networks that are out there, maybe LinkedIn
is
unfortunately
the least one I suspect that you utilize.
Yeah. As a funny joke, the last few weeks have been with 1,000 emails,
oh my God.
sort of unread, trying to keep that stable.
Listen,
and then
I'll tell you what the easy solution is. Just literally delete them all, and then whoever really needs you will just email you again.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to try that sometime.
All right, man. Well, listen.
Thanks.
Good luck to you guys. But I don't think you really need luck, because I think you're already doing the building, which is the essential piece, especially now in these bear markets.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Really great words, and even better to hear that you have Romanian roots.
Oh, for sure. Awesome. Go back every 2 years. So next one scheduled is for me next year.
Awesome. Thanks for being with us, and definitely looking forward to seeing something built.
Yep. Be well, guys.
Thank you. Cheers. Let's maybe take the other three guys that are in the loop, and then maybe we'll conclude. Can you hear us, Z? I'm not sure. Let me. Who was the person that maybe we accepted now?
It was the Zen, I think.
Yeah, Zen, can you hear us? If not, no problem. We'll try again.
Yeah, you can just add the other two, and we'll see.
Yeah. Elrond Fantes, can you hear us?
Hello.
Doesn't seem to work. And then JP.
Hello.
Yes.
So yeah, it's working. Hi.
Hey, yeah. First of all, thank you so much for your time and doing this space. It's very good that the developers there's a push for more development on the Elrond blockchain. Because in our experience, when we were trying to find the developer to build our project, we'll talk to developers that were already building, and either they never heard of Elrond or they didn't know the fundamentals it took to build on Elrond. So I think that's the first thing that you should look out for. And then the second thing is the second thing is once we talked to them and told them how easy it is and the benefits of it, then they were wondering why should they, why would they are already established on these other blockchains, why switch over to the Elrond network? And so once you take on those two questions, you will easily onboard more developers onto the Elrond network.
Sure. Definitely agree that there's an entire conversation here about raising awareness and about conveying the right kind of message as to why Elrond really stands strong among the blockchains that have been built and offers a really compelling tooling set for whoever wants to build something or use the blockchain and so forth. We're definitely always looking to improve these things, come with new projects that raise awareness and start the conversation. Always happy to hear about projects or people that are building, and then curious to hear even from you once you take a look a bit at the Elrond Dev Hub. If the devs that you're working on look at the documentation, at the different articles and so forth, if they find it useful, if it's clear, if you see something that can be improved, that's also feedback we're super happy to hear.
Yeah, because I think one of the, in my industry, one of the big things that would be good on the Elrond blockchain is supply chain. We come into a lot of companies that need supply chain, but finding a developer to build that supply chain for these businesses was our problem.
Yeah, definitely. So if you, I think maybe it's simpler to find a person that can code in Rust, and then with the documentation, if you either engage or on the Elrond Dev Hub, you'll basically find the documentation, or on the Elrond docs, you'll find the documentation, or just ping us within the Elrond Dev channel. And very, very happy to hear the feedback and see how the person can start building right away.
Yep, that sounds good. And before I go, I just wanted to, I see a lot of Super Victors out on the profile picture, so I just wanted to shout out to you guys. It's a very good project that needs to be heard, and just want to shout them out real quick. But other than that, thank you both for your time, and looking forward to what the future and Elrond brings to all of us.
Thank you for being with us. Cheers. Let's maybe take Don Palo. Can you hear us? If you want to say something, I think you only need to unmute yourself and can say something.
Okay, I'm on. Hello?
Yes.
Hi. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm pretty good. I must apologize, Razvan. My alarm did not wake me up, so I caught the tail end of this. So I apologize for that.
Yeah, it's recorded, so.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna go back and listen. I have more of a statement to make than a question, because I'm not a dev. You guys are amazing. I just wanted to shout out all the devs on Elrond Network. Elrond Dev Day for us is June 6th. What an amazing day. Beniamin, you guys are legends. Lucian as well, legends. I just wanted to thank you for giving us all the opportunity to build on such an incredible network. And on behalf of everybody, I can just say you guys are completely awesome. And we thank you and we love you guys for everything that you've done. And we look forward to building in the future and making this the best blockchain ever in existence. So I just wanted to say thank you guys.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for the great energy and for the words and so forth. And always happy to hear of more people building and being able to use the blockchain that has been built. So great to have you with us.
Yes, thank you, and we look forward to bringing. We can't wait for this to blow up in the United States. That's what that's our aim.
We're definitely pushing to have something in the US very soon. Something more special that speaks the language of the people there and brings the awareness to a much larger point than it is right now.
What is it? A fast food commercial?
Good one. Yeah, one for McDonald's.
Yeah, that'll adopt really quickly over here. You make little kids' toys.
Yeah.
But
no. Well.
Yeah. Also too, I'd like to give a shout out to Valentin, who's Victor's father, and just piggyback what the last gentleman said. And that's a fantastic project, and hopefully we can get something done. But thank you very much, guys.
Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, and great to have you with us. Let's also take maybe Marius, and then maybe I'll briefly invite Adi and Andrei Marinica to see if they want to add a note, and perhaps we can conclude afterwards.
Sure. Yep. I think we need Don Paulo in all our spaces.
Yeah, definitely. I think Marius,
I second that. I second that, guys.
definitely ping him to join.
Yeah, hey, anytime you guys need me, just let me know. I'll be there. No problem.
Awesome to have you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Razvan. Hi, Beniamin. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. First of all, congrats, Razvan, for this initiative. It's great to see this initiative public. We discussed recently in our meeting. It's great to see the Dev initiative public and supported by Elrond and by Beniamin here. Guys, from my side, I have one small feedback regarding specifically what items are extremely important for Elrond in my perspective. We are in discussions with different builders incubated by us on the Be Hero Launchpad, and maybe two important topics here are the first one to have Maya application to work as a async mode. Right now, when you coupled the Maya application, basically you have a pipe, right, a connection, which is basically blocking that connection with another DApp. Having Maya application working in asynchronous mode, will be very, very useful. Basically, in order to be able to multiplex between different dApps will be extremely beneficial for different dApps, different products. This is one point, and another point is having Next.js for React Native application for mobile applications that will be native working on Elrond side and be coupling with mobile application as Maya would be another useful point. So these two points are extremely important for different builders. But I will outline here the first one, having Maya application, which is a great app, by the way, great app, congrats for that. It's going to the next level of user-friendly way to connect between Elrond blockchain and different apps. Having Maya working as an async application will be very, very helpful.
Yep. Yeah, indeed, I can subscribe to that. I also have kind of a use case where you can connect with Maya and after that pay with Utrust. So you basically need to disconnect from the app and pay with Utrust. So yeah, indeed, it would be awesome to have.
Yeah, basically we need Maya just to sign or to be used for specific use cases, not to having it coupled on all the way during the connection. This would be extremely helpful and will enable a lot of use cases for the Elrond blockchain and for other dApps building on Elrond. That's all from my side, guys. Thank you a lot for having me.
Great to hear the feedback, Marius. Very interesting, and this is why it's great to have these conversations, because at the end of the day, there are some things that perhaps are simple to do. There are some things that, let's say, maybe may have a security concern or some other elements, but it's definitely very useful to hear the feedback and then also hear that several people are thinking about some of the same things. And we'll definitely look a bit into the, let's say, possibility of using the Maya app in several applications at the same time, because from what I see, you basically say that if you're connected to an app, you essentially have only one connection,
Right.
and this cannot be overridden. You have to disconnect and then do the other app.
Right. Yeah, basically we did an async mode for Maya. Having different sockets on the same connection will be just very helpful. Congrats one more time. Thank you for your time, Beniamin. Hope to see you soon. All the best.
Awesome. I see that in the meantime, Adrian and Andrei have left.
When you mentioned that they will speak,
yeah, maybe it's the next time. I see that the Maya kart racing is basically, I'm not sure. I don't see a button to accept. Is it?
Yeah.
Why is it just an X?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe we can invite him.
Add a speaker.
Yep.
So, Maya kart racing, if you want to say something, now is the time.
Hello. Hey, Beniamin. Hey, Razvan. I just want to start with, first, I mean, thanks for having this. Thanks for getting us here. Julian, I've been following for a long time. Elrond Dev Hub, I've been following for a long time. It's one of the reasons I got into Elrond was going through some of the early tools. One thing that I wanted to ask about, talking about Maya and integration, and something I think would be interesting to go into, is I think when you're trying to onboard the next billion people, gaming is really where you should follow. And where you should go into. Have you considered integrating any sort of basic game into the Maya app itself? Like, imagine if you were able to, along with the NFT marketplace, have a very simple, like, just jumping obstacle game, something that you just play on your phone for like 2 or 3 minutes. But you could have it so that like you could use your like NFTs like just the square. You wouldn't have to do anything super complex. But I think there's a lot of routes in gaming and mobile gaming you can consider when you're trying to develop and onboard new people.
No, those are two great points, both for the content that Julian has been doing for some time, even before the Elrond Dev Guild part. And with respect to the onboarding through games, I believe the idea here is that Maya, taken to its natural conclusion, will be a super app. How this looks, how this ties into the different applications is the, let's say, secret to it, and how it does in a seamless way so that it enables users to use it even better, even simpler, and so forth. So we're definitely in discussion with games. There will be several games coming to Elrond. The current launchpad, which is Cantina Royale, is actually just demonstrating how one can integrate blockchain technology in a game, and then not focus on blockchain technology, but focus on the experience of a game that can be cool, can be interesting, and then where the user does not even have to think about the wallet and all the blockchain elements. So Maya will definitely be core to all of that. And we're trying to think about several other layers where we believe gaming will very soon blur the lines between what we now call gaming and fun and some of the more, let's say, effort intensive tasks, whether it's learning, whether it's working, and so forth. Ideally, this will sort of merge together and will definitely want Maiar to be there. So we're going to simply experiment with several different games where Maiar, of course, will be one of the login functions. You'll be able to play and so forth. This is one thing. And then being able to access the different dApps, maybe within Maiar, that's a different thread, whether the dApps are games or whether there's something else. There's an entire universe there to explore, and we're quite excited about it.
Yeah, sounds like some really exciting stuff. I agree. And I think, it's definitely a region that if you expand into, you're able to onboard people who are not familiar with crypto or Elrond in a way that, like you said, with Container Reality, you try to avoid almost that like wallet connect or avoid the crypto up front. But then you can still have it be picked up by a large audience, and then it can become. There's a chance you could have a cult following of some game, and all of a sudden it's like, oh wait a second, what's Elrond? And you can bring on new people. You can bring in new people to the space that way in a very what's the word I'm looking for? Just organic process.
Definitely. No, thanks a lot for the feedback. Definitely looking at gaming and quite curious to see the first games actually being played on Elrond, attracting new users, and then to see the experience and how this conveys the message in a more compelling way to the world.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Beniamin.
Awesome, thank you. Maybe the last person we'll take is Dur. Let's add him, and then maybe Razvan, we can conclude. Dur, if you can hear us, you're on. I see connecting. Yep. I think you just need to unmute yourself and yep. Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Hi.
Hey, Razvan. Hey,
Hello
Beniamin. Super excited to be here and hear all of the great progress and discussions happening. I'm an Elrond, I guess, developer. Not developer, but more investor, and then developer in training, I would say. So it's been exciting to see a lot of the great progress happening the last 6 months. My question comes into more your thoughts around expanding the developer footprint outside of certain regions. We see some interesting things happening with Binance in Africa, which is more emerging region. We know the core is in the EU, but just interested in your thoughts on that target market for expanding developers.
Yeah, I think here the idea for us, it's much more how can we kickstart this dev cycles with some really cool and exciting applications, because if the applications are interesting and useful, those will do much more than onboarding developers. Those will also bring new communities, new users, and so forth. So we're usually aiming either to be very focused on expanding in some new markets and then gradually taking another market and another market. And whenever we're going into a market, we're looking not only to, for instance, let's say bringing Eagle there, but then also bringing some of the awareness, the materials, whether they're generally related to the ecosystem or related to the specific dev materials. And so although Elrond is extremely strong, perhaps one of the strongest blockchains within the EU, we're definitely looking at both US and Asia to expand in a massive way. We just recently had a lot of conversations even around Africa and what's happening there. The point, I think, is basically this is open to everyone, but there should be a very specific and strategic step-by-step approach where things can really grow and pick up fast, and then gradually expanding them in wider and wider regions. This is just, let's say, the idea that we're pushing toward right now.
No, absolutely, that makes sense. I mean, certain regions would definitely be more like a decade return on investment type of region, which I see Africa definitely being one of those. where it might make more sense for Binance to do that long term kind of build up, and then as the maturity comes, people can expand there. If I can ask the second question, is that okay?
Sure, please.
Yeah, my second question. So I work in enterprise architecture, so I look a lot at software and solutions development, a little bit on the part time, and I really have started to analyze the product suite from Elrond and try to put it into my own kind of enterprise architecture understanding. There's some really visible building blocks that you're offering to the community. And maybe I think sometimes people misunderstand that these are building blocks for developers to build upon, but also direct products to the community like Meyer Exchange. Do you have any other kind of more formulated thoughts that articulate that reality? Because I think sometimes people misunderstand the effort behind some of the developments.
Yeah, the core idea here is this: whenever you're starting to build an infrastructure that you're expecting to change a lot of things, to bring new tools, new applications, and tools that have very significant downstream effects, you usually cannot wait for things to just happen. And so the key thing for us with Elrond has always been, of course, we always love to see many efforts within the community as much as possible, everything being built within the community and applications just emerging and then picking up investments and traction and moving forward. But this needs a lot of nurturing, and especially at first, some of the things you cannot wait for them to happen. You really need to take the effort, although it may be painful. Those need to be built so that the other people within the community have a sufficiently large and useful Lego set so that they themselves can then start iterating, start building on the templates that exist, start creating totally new applications and so forth. And whether this is on the, let's say, DeFi space, NFT space, DAO space, or just more generally available applications, this is the basic idea. And then as soon as you have at least one application that really picks off, you'll have many other people trying to reproduce that application instead of taking the lesson that now the tools are there, let's explore some new sectors, new ideas. And so this is the way we've looked at things, both fundamentally just mapping things and saying what's needed, and then not waiting for things to just happen and putting in the effort. And I think we're now at the point where it's just before an explosion, sort of, where a lot of projects are picking up, a lot of projects are building, really cool things are happening. And as soon as you have the few success stories spread, whether it's about developers, whether it's about entrepreneurs, whether it's about investors and so forth, those are the stories that essentially spread the widest, are the most compelling. And this is why we're trying to give a voice to the builders, give a chance to the entrepreneurs and developers, and put the tools out so that if someone can build something better, more interesting, more useful for the community, they should just take the initiative and not wait for anyone to, let's say, approve, but rather with effort put in there. The other things will fall into place if the effort is valuable and useful.
Awesome. Thank you, Beniamin. Appreciate you guys' time.
Sure. Thank you for being with us. Razvan, I'm not sure if you have some last thoughts or ideas, and then we can basically wrap it up, I think.
Yeah, I think we can wrap things up. It was very nice to host this, and for sure we should do this regularly. Happy to launch the hub, and I'm sure things will, as I said, it's a process. We are building all kind of blocks right now, and with time, development will become easier, and onboarding will be easier, and even like building different apps using different building blocks will be easier and easier. So, yeah.
Awesome. Razvan, keep up the great work and energy. Guys, thanks for being with us, and talk very soon. Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
Peace.
Thank you. Bye bye.